Brandy is a passionate yet no nonsense woman who is going to tell you exactly how she feels and when she feels it.
Fabulous human being overall.
And that's who Brandy is. Brandy is someone who is there willing to help you and guide you through whatever it is you might need.
She helps you to reconsider your preconceived ideas or reconsider new ways to approach a topic. You don't need people in life to agree with you on anything or everything. What you really need is someone to keep it real, and she does that exactly.
When she don't even know, I feel like when I make my first million, I owe her a lot of money.
This season of Brandy Was Here, the podcast is sponsored in part by Blood of a King Clothing, a clothing line focused on bringing out the best within you. Blood of a King Clothing is a motivational clothing line that is helping you find the greatness within. You can shop Blood of a King Clothing at bloodofakingclothing.myshopify.com. TBM Skincare provides the tools that help women love what they see when they look in the mirror. With the full line of plant-based products, we invite women to reclaim their time by adopting a self-care routine that invites luxury into their homes. The company began making small batches of natural skincare in 2015 after founder Brandy Vernado crafted the recipe to cure her adult acne. In doing so, she also found the confidence to pursue her dreams of being a full-time entrepreneur. Since its inception, TBM Skin has made luxury skincare accessible to everyday people and is committed to helping communities rebuild their sense of pride and their unique identity. You can shop TBM Skincare at www.tbmskin.com.
Welcome to. I am so excited. I have been excited all season about this season in particular because I am talking to the people that I've always wanted to talk to about the things I've always wanted to talk about, which is all things spirituality, self-love, and your soul self journey. And so today, my guest Angie is going to help us dive even deeper into that topic and hopefully help us come away with some new learnings and truths that we did not have before. So Angie, can you do me a favor? Go ahead and introduce yourself. Let them know who you are and what it is that you do.
Yes. My name is Angie McAllister, and I am a law of attraction coach and a spirit energy guide. And I help people remember why they came in to this world in the first place, why we reincarnated into this beautiful world of contrast, and how we came in knowing that we had all of this power to create and manifest, but then have forgotten because we have other people's opinions on us, have other people's structures and guidance and dogmas, and we forgot that we had so much power to create. And so I am here to help people remember that they have this vibration in this vibrational world that we can lock onto and create exactly what we're wanting to. And at the same time, connecting into your spirit guides, your intuition, your emotional guidance system, bringing yourself spirituality into alignment in an everyday occurrence. So you're constantly creating. You are constantly creating whether you know it or not. So I'm helping people remember that you can intentionally create.
Oh my gosh. I got chills when you said you're helping people remember. Oh my gosh.
Yes.
Because I think so often we think we are starting from scratch here on this earth, trying to figure it out, but we're not figuring out what we're remembering. I love that. Okay. We're going to go into our quick fire questions. These are the questions that I did not send you ahead of time. And it's just to help you relax and or, I don't know, trigger your anxiety, whichever way it goes. But these are a series of quick questions. The idea is that you're just going to say the first thing that comes to mind. You don't need to, think too deeply about them or go on any long explanation. Okay. Are you ready?
Okay.
All right.
I
First
am ready.
question. What is the best thing going on in your life right now?
Oh, my husband. He is my twin flame. I manifested him like crazy. I did a whole full moon manifestation meditation ritual, and I brought in my twin flame, and he's like me, except male and balanced, and someone that that has the other side, my insecurities. He has this, he can soothe my soul in a way I've never met anyone can do. He just has this balance of me, and that's my biggest one.
Okay, Angie, some of my listeners right now are going to say, Brandy, don't go any further. Let's dive into that because I am looking. We're going to come back to that idea about manifesting love. Okay, we're going to come back to that.
Yes.
Okay, next question. What is your go-to mantra or affirmation?
My go-to mantra. If I can imagine it, it will come around. If I can hold the vibration, it comes around. That is my mantra. I know it to be true and to relax, the ebb and flow.
What is your definition of faith?
My definition of faith is believing that you can achieve exactly what you want. The faith in it.
What's the thing you lean on when life gets hard?
My spirit guides, meditation, my inner spirit, and of course my husband right now. But before, yes.
What do you believe is the biggest misconception about spirituality?
That you have to go through somebody to get it. You have to pray to somebody else to be able to bring it in.
All right, name a book that has helped you on your journey.
No, currently, probably Abraham Hicks. Do you know who that is?
I do. We're going to come back to that too.
All right.
What
Good,
single
yes.
thing? What single thing would you like to make absolutely certain you do during this lifetime?
To wake up as many people as I can. To start a triggering happening of vibrational alignment. To break out of the structures that we have been stuck in. The dogma that we think we are all lower, lesser.
Yes. I love those answers. This is great. Okay, we're going to start like a little differently than I wanted to because you mentioned Abraham Hicks. Now, how did you come to know Abraham Hicks?
So I started, I actually just came across Abraham Hicks, and I had already been doing my law of attraction, and I honestly had a friend give me her book, and I'm like, oh my God, I believe everything what they're saying, and it just so tied everything together for me in such a way. So even when I feel impatient, I think that would be my biggest. I know it's coming, but when I feel impatient for it, I can pick up that book. That seems to help.
I came across Abraham Hicks on Pinterest, like just being totally honest. Which sent me, like, I'm a type of person that tends to go down a rabbit hole, which sent me on a rabbit hole of like looking up all these things and finding these videos on YouTube. And then I started listening to this podcast of this person that was inspired by them and doing all this stuff. And I was just like, okay, this is like, it made sense to me because a lot of things that I have been working on personally in my life, this was a person and a theory and idea that connected to a lot of things that I have been experiencing. I just didn't have a name or title or sort of concept to wrap it around. And then suddenly I did. So I love Abraham Hicks. If you are listening to this and you don't know who that is, please Google, find a book, go on YouTube, Google however you're researching, and get to know who that is and what those ideas and concepts are kind of about. Now, with that said, Angie, how did you get into this work? Was there a particular experience, event, time period, person that you connected with and you're just like, oh, this is what I'm doing now?
Yes. So my entire life, I have been one of those people that knew I was I knew I was going to put myself in all these of traumatic events. I knew I was going to become have trouble, certain troubles, and then I knew on the opposite side I was going to help people. Somehow I knew all of this. So, and on the same part, I grew up in a religion, in a Christianity, and so I understood what prayer was, and I understood what the energy was. People used to ask me to pray over them when I was young. They felt the Holy Spirit, and so I had a lot of that in my background, still struggling with all the things I was struggling with. And then, except there's a piece of me that always struggled with the bowing down, or why do we have to be lesser than? and I just had such a hard time with that one piece. So it was just about 4 years ago, one of my friends was selling crystals, and those crystals spoke to me, and I bought one, and that little thing said, okay, what do I do with this? I'm going to activate my chakras. And I meditated, and I felt my own power for the first time, not somebody else's power, not somebody coming over and healing me, but my power. And I was hooked. And I became an advanced Reiki practitioner. I learned how to move energy. And then Matthias DeStefano, do you know who that is?
I do not.
From Gaia Channel.
Oh, okay.
He was yes. He's the person who remembers all of his incarnations, and he can come and talk to you. He'll like talk. He talks about all of his incarnations and remembers them very well. I listen to him, and he's a little difficult to understand, but something in him I understood really. It spoke to me in a way that nothing else has, and from that I just took off. And I started to create my own understanding. And then I saw Abraham, and I was like, wow, this is really exactly what I'm teaching people. So it was just a major confirmation of everything that I already knew. But that's how I came into it. And then once I felt my own power, I was able to leave the dogma of religion, because there is such a lowering of your spirit to even be in that community. And I was able to let that go and start to actually manifest and create what I want, and saw it all happening in front of me as I was creating it. So it's hard not to be hooked.
Yes. Okay. I love that. Every time I interview someone, and I tend to ask that question or something similar to that about like, how do folks get started? It always comes back to childhood. Like there's so much in our childhood. Like I feel like we know who we are when we're children, and then we grow up and life just takes it away from us. It takes it and hides it, and then we're searching for that thing kind of for the rest of our lives. And I just, for people who are listening to this who want to become parents or are parents, really take the time to listen to and nurture your children, because it's important.
And so up until age 5, we are all very remembering who we are. We have imagination. We run, we play. Do you remember how imaginative you were? But then at 5, you go to school. And what happens at school? You start to take in the guidance of your teachers and their beliefs and all of that. And then rules come in, and which need to be, but then you start to lose all of that imagination and who you are. And then you become part of the community, and you're no longer that individualistic, imaginative kid anymore that believes they can be the superhero. They start to actually like they start to begin to like Superman and Wonder Woman, because in their child, like they were the superhero. But then when you go to a school, you're taught like, oh, you're not. This is what superheroes look like. So then you start to look outside of yourself for that superhero person.
Yeah, I do. I remember being a kid thinking I could do anything, and then suddenly someone told me, no, you can't. And then I started to believe it. You're like, oh, I can't do that?
Yeah.
Okay, you're right. I guess I'm wrong. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah, I love that. I want to go back to religion and what you talked about with religion, because I think many of us, we've grown up religiously. We've gone to church. We've had a Bible in our home. We've, learned how to pray and do all these things. But what you said kind of really struck me, is that religion teaches you that you are lower than or less than, right? I had a friend who's a poet, and he did this amazing one-man show a couple years ago. And this is around the time where I would say I had my spiritual awakening, where things just started. I realized I couldn't go back to the way things were. He said, he had a glass of water, and he said, if this is, he's like, this is not a glass of water. This is, a cup of the ocean. And of course, everyone in the audience laughs. He's like, if I put my cup in the ocean, I get out water. Is this not a piece of ocean, right? So if I say that God is the creator, how am I not a creator, right? Like, how am I not
Yes.
part of the same thing? But I'm taught, right, that if I do something good, right, that's of God. If I do something bad, then that's of the devil, and I should get rid of those bad things. But who's determining what's good and bad, right? If I'm the same thing. And for me, that was a reflection of like, wow, right? I am this super creative person, because all my life I was kind of creative, and people were like, oh, you need to get a real job, do real things. Like, that's not gonna that's not gonna work. That's not gonna help. Like,
right. That's not gonna
not
make you
how
money.
you do
That's
life, right? And I was like, oh my gosh, like, how do I channel this energy? Like, what do I do with this? Because I feel like this is what I'm called to do. And at that point, like I said, I realized I couldn't go back to doing what I couldn't just, show up at church on Sunday as if things were, normal, so to speak, because now I had this new information that shifted and changed everything, and I needed to explore what that meant for me. So what is it about so many of us now? I feel like we are all awakening in a moment where we feel like religion is very constricting to who we are and what we want to be. So what do you think has shifted and changed in society or in us that has now allowed more people to step into the realm of spirituality and kind of back away from the dogma of religion?
I love this question, because we feel as humans that we are the star of the show right now, but really we're like organisms on a god itself, which is Earth. And Earth is elevating itself right now. And we are feeling the vibration of it. I think that's where COVID came in. COVID, Corona, it caused us to stop looking outside of ourselves and like to stop. Everybody had to stop, and start to see, okay, what am I doing in my life? And, in that time is the highest of divorce rates was during COVID.
Yes.
And everybody was starting to take real stock in their life because they were stuck and had to, instead of always active. So this Earth is changing as well. And so we're all just feeling the vibration of it politically, judgmentally. Everybody is just way more vocal about how they feel. Their aggravation, their frustration is right out in the forefront. We're all feeling this movement. And in the same aspect, we can either get really frustrated. Then there's the other people who see this and they're like, well, I'm seeing everything around, and I'm seeing how religion is playing a piece in this. So they're able to view it as this religion being that judgmental, limiting beliefs, and they're actively looking for something different. It's a vibration in the Earth, in Mother Earth. It's something that we're all feeling. And it started, in the 60s, 70s, but now it's really starting to take on, and people are starting to feel this, and more of us are out here. I'll do some metaphysical fairs sometimes, and there are a million people. I mean, there's just so many people out there that want to know. I wouldn't say a million, but there's just so many people that are looking. So yeah.
Love that. Yeah, COVID definitely was a period of awakening for so many people, so many of us. Yeah,
yes, I was one of them who got divorced in 2020. I too did that. It was almost as if we all felt this jolt inside of us, and then we kind of scrambled. A lot of people got really depressed. A lot of people got hermity. Some people got even more wanting to get out there and do stuff. We all dealt with it in different ways because we all have this different energy alignment to it.
Mm-hmm. Yes. Trust the vibes. So you went through this experience, you said, just over the last couple of years, sort of diving deep into this journey. What are some things that you had to release or let go in order to fully give yourself to this new life and new experience?
Oh, I had to release all the victimhood I felt.
Ooh.
That's the biggest thing, is all of us feel like life is just happening to us. And I had to let that victimhood go and start to really see where, when I was creating one thing, what happened just before that creation? What was I doing that was vibrating to make this happen? Because everything that happens in front of us is just a translation of what we're feeling in our emotional guidance system, our chakras, our emotional nervous system, whatever you want to call it. And that's what's happening in front of us is just translation of that. So I had to stop saying, well, this is why I did this. It's that person's fault. Well, it's this because this person treated me this way. It's because I didn't have very many friends because and I had to look back and say, well, probably because I was really crabby all the time and agitated and people didn't want to talk to me, that could have been. And then, when I, anytime I had a traumatic event, I would have to go back and look and say, what was I doing? And how did I make that happen? Because there is nobody else who is the star of your life but you. And we all want to give it up. We are taught to give it up. We're all taught to say, like you just said, you give up the good things to God, you give up the bad things to the devil, and then everything else we give up as well. If something's happening to us, well, that's just evil and negativity, and it's not our fault. But if good things happen, God bless, thank God for that, and really, we are the ones doing it all because you are an aspect of me. And people are just aspects of you. And when you can hold each other and you have a conversation, that means there's a vibrational alignment that's happening. You have a question, I have an answer, that vibrational alignment happens. And that's happening constantly, every day, all day in your life.
That victimhood. Victimhood is really hard to give up.
It is very hard.
It's hard because I think being the victim sometimes makes us feel safe in that we don't have to hold ourselves accountable.
Yes.
We don't have to really do anything besides be the victim, right? We don't have to be better. We don't have to be any worse. We can kind of just exist because someone has hurt us and now people feel bad that we're hurt, and we can kind of just rest there and stay there. It is the hardest thing to get out of when you don't accept your own responsibility in the situations that take place. Not to say that everything is your fault, right? People will lie to you, people will do you wrong, people will mistreat you, right? People have their own role to play in everything, but you also have a role, right? You can choose to deal with it. You choose how you respond to it. You choose how long you stay present in that situation. So all that plays a role. But yeah, that victimhood, it is a tough thing to shake.
Well, and that's another thing Christianity has taught us. I mean, we came in just thinking, well, Christianity or the religion was just the way to go. Like that is what we do when we're here in human. So, and what does that say? Well, that takes away our accountability anyways. If we do something wrong, well, we pray for forgiveness and we're all good. If we do something bad, well, it's not our fault. We were being led by the devil. I mean, so there's that accountability. You're right. And you're right. So it's all about, if somebody does lie to you, well, are you staying? Are you allowing that to be in your experience then? Are you allowing liars to be in your experience? Are you calling out boundaries and say, you know what? I know I don't deserve this and I know I'm better than this because this is my life and my reality. And I don't need all of that here with me.
Yeah. I want to go back to something because you've mentioned chakras twice. I want to make sure that people listening have a clear understanding of what chakras actually are and why or how we can use them to our benefit. So can you explain that to us?
Yes. Your chakras, I'll just do the 7 chakras. It's your main chakras, your emotional guidance system. You have your root chakra, which is the base of your spine, and it is the color red, and it is your connection into earth. It is the connection into ancestral knowledge and wisdom, discernment, all the patterns and beliefs of your ancestors. It's all within there. It's also the chakra that literally holds in this reality our spirit to our body. So we can be one in this whole experience. And then the one above that is your sacral, and that is just below your belly button. That is the color orange, and that is your connection to creativity, to sexuality, your relationships with your family, friends, spouse, partner. It's your community connection. And then the one above that is just above your belly button, and that is called your solar plexus. That is the color of sun, yellow. And that is where it's your self empowerment, your personal power, your confidence, where you go to move in this world, knowing who you are and being confident in being that person in your existence. And then the one above that is your heart. And that is your, your chest, your arms, in your hands and is green. And that is your, of course, love, your love of all, how you love others and how you allow others to love you and how you let people receive that love. Are you receiving from others? And then there's your throat, and that is a blue. And that is of course, your expression, your speaking out. This is I say, like, on your throat, if you're underactive, you're kind of, small and meek. And if you're overactive, then you're telling everybody your truth, and they're going to deal with it whether you want them to, or whether they want to or not. That's your throat chakra. It is important that you express your truth about yourself, because once you do, then the reality around you changes. The one above that is your third eye, which is indigo. And that is your self-awareness, the understanding of yourself in this world, how you respond to other people, knowing a situation, being in it, saying, do I want to do this again? What do I want to do next? And the one above that is, of course, your crown chakra, and that is violet. And that is your connection into your intuition, the universal energy, your guides, angels, all of that. And that is your emotional guidance system. And so through there, we get these hits, you get that gut reaction of if something's wrong or if something feels good, you get it in this lower area, your heart starts to feel full. These are ways to let us know, keep going or stop. Take notice of what's happening, maybe change course. This is how we navigate our world. And we just don't even realize we have this in us. We have this gut reaction where if you're stressed, you start to feel sick to your stomach, and you've got all this stuff going on. And really, if we learn to align our chakras and balance them, we can feel so much better about the stuff around us, about life around us.
That's your chakras. So how would I recognize if one of my chakras is out of alignment or overactive?
You'll feel unbalanced. Instead of understanding, instead of loving, they ebb and flow. Instead of feeling grateful when you wake up and feeling the gratefulness of the day and the connectivity, you will feel either, you feel sad, depressed. You'll get, and then it depends, like if it's your family, if you're not getting along with your family, if you're not getting along with your spouse or your friends, you'll start to feel sad, and you're in that part in your stomach, that sacral chakra, because that's exactly what it represents. If you're feeling very disconnected, you can start to have like pain in your body. Maybe your lower back starts to hurt. In your heart, when you start to not allow people and you're receiving love, you're feeling unbalanced. That's how you know your heart is not in alignment with what's going on around you. And so it's getting yourself in alignment so that you're feeling really good and grateful about your life around you. And when you're not feeling good and grateful, something's off.
Yeah, I think that definitely makes a lot of sense. I think people have trouble identifying when they're unbalanced because they often spend so long in that unbalanced state that tends to feel more normal to them than actually being balanced. So I'm thinking like people who tend to be like passive aggressive, like you're used to holding things in and not speaking your truth. And you think that that's the norm, right? You'll say, oh, I'm really shy, I don't like speaking out. And then that's just me, right? And then someone pisses you off, and now like all that stuff you've been holding in just gets loaded off on that one person, and you're like, whew, feel better. Like that person doesn't feel good, but I feel great. Wow, I like this new me, right? When you're just rebalancing yourself because you're finally releasing those things. I like people who get like headaches all the time, like something is stuck up here. You're not listening to your intuition. Your crown chakra may be blocked if you're constantly like you're forgetful, or you're having headaches all the time, or you're struggling to make decisions. These might be indications, right, that something is unbalanced. But because we just let these things linger for so long, because we got to get up to work, we got to get home and make dinner, we got to do all these things, then you might be thinking, oh, that's normal. Oh, I've been getting headaches for years. I always have migraines, right? Like that's just a normal part of your life. And it's not.
For instance, in 2020, when I decided to finally leave, it was because I had all of a sudden migraines. For 3 weeks, I had migraines really bad, and I would get these migraines, and then my stomach would get really sick, and I'd vomit. And this happened. I had to take time off work. I lost all this weight because I could, just from this little, this 3 week, and then it released, and I had to think, okay, what is going on? Well, you're right. I had to be self-aware that I was not where I was supposed to be, and I was vomiting, and that's my sacral because I was not where I was supposed to be in the marriage. I was unhappy, and so all of these things, these physical aspects were taking shape because I had to make a change. And do you know, the minute I decided to make that change, it all dissipated. It all went away by itself. I didn't have to go to a doctor. I didn't have to do, of course I went to a doctor when it was happening because I didn't know what was going on. But afterwards, it just kind of left. It was like, okay, you've made that change, And so I did, and it was gone. And I was able to then, of course, open up to my intuition and my, my channeling and everything that I'm able to do now.
Yeah, that makes so much sense. I think it has a lot to do with choice. What I tell people, when you are struggling to make a decision, like indecision is like you just stopping your car on the highway. There's everyone going on the road and you just decide to stop. You can imagine like all of these cars are piling up. There's an accident, like probably people cursing at you, flipping you off. All these things are happening. That is what is going on when you're in your mind when you do not make a decision. When you make a decision, all roads are clear and you can go and you can move forward. Now, you may struggle whether or not this is the right decision, right? But as long as you're making the decision, there is movement. When you're not making a decision, you are stuck, and all of those wires get crossed. And we want to uncross them because that's when things get easier. That's when we can move and make a decision. If you move in the wrong direction, you'd be like, oh, yep, this is not it. Let me turn around and go that way. Oh, I got off on the wrong exit. Let me get back on the highway. But when you don't make a decision, nothing happens.
That's a good definition of law of attraction, actually, because we come into this world to create in a world of contrast. We knew that we would come down here, there would be an abundance of well-being. We knew this. We had to get there to the well-being. We came in this world of contrast because by knowing what we don't want, you begin to know what you do want. And then you begin to want something else. And then that thought attracts another thought, and attracts like, and then that attraction happens. But you first have to get to the, wow, I didn't like that experience. I'm gonna try something different. So it's that movement, a constant movement. And then when you do feel like, where do I go? People don't stop and think, okay, how do I really feel about this? They're all up in their head, trying to psychologically analyze what they should be doing. Really, if they just sat with it and let their body tell them, okay, how does my body feel? Do I feel like sick and divided? Am I nervous? Do I feel like let yourself feel it all. And then that's the emotional guidance that you can have for every step we have, every indecision we have. But people don't ever stop. They're constantly analyzing. Yeah.
Yeah. So when I hear law of attraction, I obviously think of many things because I have done a little bit of studying about this. But for most people, when they think law of attraction, their first thought is, oh my gosh, I need to get a stack of magazines, cut out pictures, and throw all this shit on a vision board. That is my law of attraction. That is how I make this thing happen. Because, that book, I think it was a movie to a documentary, The Secret came out, and they're like, vision board. I took a picture of the house I wanted, and now I'm living in the house. And people are like, I am making a collage today. But what, how do we actually, I need a collage. I need pictures, right? This is my future husband. This is the car I want. This is my collage.
Yeah.
I'll take a picture of it, make it my screensaver. How do I actually attract the things that I want? Like, we've talked a little bit about vibration. We've talked about making choices. What do I need to do to attract into my life the things that I truly, truly desire?
So the thing with vision boards is they're fantastic, except what we end up doing is when we look at them, we think someday. So we're putting everything we put in front of us out of our experience because we have just, by saying that someday, it is no longer in our vibration. It is outside of our vibration. You're constantly trying to work to get there. So what you do is you take some time every day and you let yourself imagine, like you were a child, what you want. Imagine yourself, doing exactly what you want to be doing. And while you're doing it, imagine how you feel while you're doing it. Who's there? What is it? Who are you helping? What are you doing? Let it all come in and let it flood your system. And do that for just a few minutes every day. And then every time it comes to you, allow it to flood your system. And as your body begins to like bring it in, you're like, okay, this is happening. And you don't put it in the future, you put it now. So I am now, I am now doing this. If you want to, let's see, let me give an example. When I first started coaching, instead of me saying, I'm going to one day get clients, I'm like, I'm getting client. I have clients that are out there. I'm reaching them. It's happening now. I am a coach. I spoke it out. And then that perception, that reality came towards me. And so then I started to every day imagine myself having clients, sitting there, feeling good about it. What does it feel like? The money, the gratitude, and then not playing small. Don't be small in your own imaginations. Don't be small in your own life. Be big and imagine it. And by law, it will come around to you. Now, what we do is we receive it. It's in front of us, but then we have to actually allow it in. Because even though this big thing is in front of us that we have just asked for, you're thinking, once it's in front of you, think, can I do this? Am I worthy? Can I even handle it? And then you start questioning yourself. So you have to do it. You have to imagine it, then be aware and look for it. And then when it's in front of you, be aware enough to say, oh, that's mine. I created that. That's for me. And so it takes a little more than just putting a collage together and staring at it and going, someday that's the guy I want. That's the house I want, because you're just putting that outside of your purview anyways. And so it's bringing it in and it's imagining. You want a new car? Imagine this new car. Imagine the beautiful car you're driving in. You love it. You have the windows down. You have your radio blasting. You're driving. It feels good. You brag about it. You're excited about it. And the more energy you put into it, the more it starts to be in your awareness. And then you start to create on this awareness, and it becomes a piece of you. And then you have to allow that awareness. And then that car comes in front of you and you're like, it's a pretty good price. But then you say, I can't really afford it. And you let it go. When you really could have, if you put yourself together and got the money together, you could have, but you automatically dismiss it because of the worthiness of it, the allowing of it, bringing it into your reality. We ask, but we don't always receive. We don't always allow it in, though it does show up. If you notice, if you look, if you view, it shows up.
That is very true. I think too, to add to what you're saying, not only do we not feel worthy, our mind, we force our mind to try to figure out the how, right? I say, yes. Oh my gosh, this is my dream home. I don't know how I'm going to afford that. Oh my gosh, the payments must be so much, or all of these things, right? Because we're looking at our reality and where we are now, then our mind goes, okay, you're going to need to work this many hours, do this, do this, do that, and do that. Then we're not really trusting our intuition. We're not letting the universe guide us if we're the ones that's trying to figure everything out. So then immediately the universe says, okay, you're not ready. You don't have any work for me to do because you're going to do all the work. So I'm out of it, right? You're doing all the work, none for me to do. Let me, work on something else, because we're trying to figure it out. So one of the things that is part of, and you mentioned acceptance as well, when it's presented to us, right? To just release and accept it. Okay, this is mine. This is what I asked for. And also to know that sometimes we ask for things and it may not come exactly how we imagine it, right? Like I was having this conversation with someone about a Tesla, because for many years I was like, oh my God, I want a Tesla. Like, that is my car. I need a Tesla. And then I started seeing Teslas everywhere. And then, I was walking through the mall parking lot and I was like standing next to it. Unbeknownst to me, I'm like texting my phone. I'm standing next to it. Somebody complimented me and was like, oh my God, I love your car. And I was like, oh, it's a Tesla. It's right there, right? And then I was like, okay, you know what? I need to like get behind the wheel. I need to I'm trying to embody this vibration. I went to drive it and I was like, this is not the car for me. I don't even want it. This is a little weird. I couldn't open the door. It was weird. Like, just all these things that I didn't quite think about. And then I was like, okay, out of sight, out of mind. I no longer want that. And they were like, yeah, well, you test drove a blue Tesla and you said you wanted a red one. that's why. And I was like, no, actually, I just don't like the car. Like I could actually desire something and then change my mind, right? Because I was doing all the things to draw it to me. And then when it got close to me, I made the decision to say, you know what? This is not something that I actually want. Maybe what I wanted was like this excitement around this new car that everyone was talking about, right? Maybe I wanted to look cool in a car or whatever it was, but I actually didn't want this thing. And so I had to have that self-awareness to say like, okay, Brandy, what do you really want? Let's go back to the drawing board and let's think about what is the thing that you're actually after, because it's not that, right?
It's fun, right? It's a kind of the game of life.
It is.
It becomes fun to do that. And then to actually think of something, to see it in your awareness, and then be like, okay, do I want that? And then one thing we do that blocks ourselves is we have such a limited view of how things work in the world. Just so limited, just only what we have seen in our little lifetime. And so when we want something, we ask for it, we then construct, okay, well, this is probably how I can get it. This is how I can get it, but only in these limited views. And really, if we just ask and let it go, things come to us in the ways that we have like you said, couldn't even, just happens out of nowhere. And it's letting go of the control of it, because we want to control it, because we want it to happen. So we put our limiting beliefs on this amazing asking, and then we get a limiting receiving as well.
Yes. That brings me to my next question. You talked earlier about manifesting your husband. And I think for a lot of people, they struggle to get out of their own way when it comes to manifesting love in their life, or even manifesting friendship, just healthy relationships in general. And I think it's tricky too, because, it's one thing to manifest things, to attract things to yourself. Like, this is a career I want. This is a car I want. This is, I saw this new dress and I hope I can get it, right? But when you're attracting another person, then you got to deal with that person and all their stuff, right? Like, you can't control another human being. And that feels, it feels like what people actually want to do. Like, they want to, custom build the perfect partner and then control everything that person thinks, says, and does, right? And that's not how it works. So what is different, or maybe not different, maybe I'm just imagining it as different, to attract love in your life? And how do we do that unselfishly?
So attracting love, first off, what we tend to do when we want to attract love is we imagine something great, and then we imagine like, okay, I want someone who really takes care of me. And then you think, and then all of a sudden our little voice says, okay, well, you would be satisfied. Okay, let's not be so big. You'll be satisfied if they, cook for you. Okay, so let's not, okay, so so you put out the first big feeling, but then you lower yourself. Automatically, we do it because we don't feel we're worthy. And the first thing is to not be small in your asking. Be very specific. When I did and I call it a manifestation meditation, because I wrote down, I want him to be tall. I had been married twice before, and they were short. I was like, that's enough. I wanted him to be tall.
Deal breaker.
And then I had one of my friends was like, men have a problem with that. They feel like women really want tall. And I said, I don't really care what they feel. I want a tall man. This is going to be my man. So he's going to be tall. He's going to have these broad shoulders. I've always been attracted to red. I love dimples. I want him to be funny. I want him to communicate. I was so big. And then of course, all those things of like, okay, well, I'd be happy if he just had a conversation, if he was funny. And then I would start, no, I want him to be a good communicator. No, this is what I want. And so you put all of that out there, and then you start to believe that you're worthy of it. You have to believe the worthiness. That's the big one for us, is believing that we actually are worthy of having somebody like that in our lives. And
why do we feel that we aren't worthy of that? Like, what are the blocks? What stops us from believing that we deserve the things that we're asking for?
Because through our whole life, we've been so excited about something, and then it comes into our existence, and we're disappointed. So we are really learn to cut our losses and just ask for the little, because if we're too excited, we're just going to get disappointed. We honestly believe this about ourselves. We're just going to get disappointed. But what really happens is when you believe that you deserve something, the other things that could have come into your awareness, they won't. They fall away because you now have boundaries. You now have a vision of who you want. You won't accept anybody else. So they come around into your awareness. And with friends, what we do with friends is we are never really our true self with friends. We change ourselves with the friend we're with. We'll be a different person for that friend. And then we'll get another friend. We'll go, I can be funny with this friend. I can be, more excited with this friend. And so you're a different personality. But when you're with the other friend who's merely more subdued, you become more subdued for that person. You just change your personality constantly. And so when you become in alignment with who you are, and you live in integrity at all times with who you are, the people that cannot hold your vibration will fall away. And the people that can, that know you because you are in integrity, will resonate with you stronger than you have ever had anyone resonate. Before I became in integrity with who I was all off in many ways. I had like one friend, and I did not know what was wrong with me. And I would be funny and I, sense of humor and witty, and none, and it just still was that one or two friends. And there was that allowing and living integrity with who I am. And now that I am only myself, no matter where I'm at, who I'm with, I am exactly who I am at all times. People resonate with me in a powerful way, more than they ever did before, because they feel the integrity in you. They feel like, okay, well, you're not bullshitting me right now. I can feel it, and that is what people resonate with. And so with your partner, when you ask for it, going back to your partner, write it down, be specific, let yourself think, what is it that I really want? And then don't let yourself cut it down, because that will be a natural thing. Well, I want that, but I'll accept this. Stop accepting and get what you want. And once you start to live in integrity with what you want, that is what comes into your purview. But if you start to cut it down, those are the people that are going to come into your purview, because that's what you're allowing now. And the universe is going to say, okay, well, this is what she really feels about it. I'm going to go ahead and latch onto that vibration and give it to her. So it's keeping yourself big in your own life, knowing that you are worth exactly what you're asking for, knowing that you deserve somebody to soothe you when you feel sad and when you feel upset and insecure, knowing that you deserve somebody to make you feel that security when you're reaching out and you're feeling insecure, knowing that you deserve that. You deserve someone who's going to communicate with you. You deserve somebody who's going to be fully focused on you and not everything else. Or somebody who's not going to be a big flirt with other women and they're just going to be yours and you. You deserve all of this. And I think as women, we are taught that men are, I'm going to go back to Christianity. Men are led by the devil. Their thoughts are always on other women. Their thoughts are always on things that we can't, so we throw up walls. We throw up these walls. Okay, I can deal with your mind that you have to think about other women. I'll throw up a wall. And we throw up all these walls. And what we're doing is we're really just blocking exactly what we want. And so it's letting yourself break down those walls little by little. You asked how you become integrity, breaking down your walls. We all have a million walls up around us on how we deal with life. And it's learning how to break them down and living in integrity, being the star of your own life.
Yeah. That was good. Yeah. I think too, when it comes to relationships, we spend a lot of time looking outside ourselves for the answers, right? We look at people as relationship goals. I was just reading this magazine about Ben and Jennifer and how people have a lot of people are going back to their exes because of this couple, and how they've rekindled and found love. And this is, oh my gosh, they look so happy. Maybe I can reconnect with this person, et cetera, et cetera. And we're always seeking outside of ourselves to kind of tell us what we think we should have, right? We don't go off of, okay, this is what I desire, this is what I feel like I deserve. We say, oh, wow, well, so-and-so met their husband on Match.com, maybe I can too. So you just blindly go out there and you're looking for this or looking for that. I think too, another part for women especially, there's like this insecurity, right? Of I can't ask for too much, right? That
Yes.
I have all these things, like, because you're saying, like, write things down. And I've heard a lot of women say, don't make a list because you're not going to find that. Like, don't write down all these characteristics and try to, check people off your list. But then, like, how do you know this person is for you? Like, people will say things like that. And I think I think women want to be pursued. They want to be chased. And some women might think, okay, if I'm putting all this effort into attracting this person, are they also putting in this effort in attracting me? Right? Like, yes, this is the person I want, but do they want me too? And that can kind of stop and slow the process, right? Because then you're going back into that mode of, I need to figure it out. I need to control this. I need to make sure that this is what it's supposed to be. And you miss out on the thing that you want.
That's exactly right. We are taught that I have heard so many women say, I don't want to be a burden. I don't, I don't want to I don't want to be negative to somebody else. They're always so worried about how they're going to, get into somebody else's life, how their energy is going to mix, or how they're going to affect somebody else negatively. And really it is your power. You're really not affecting, everybody's just an aspect of you. So you're really not, unless you're really horrible to somebody, you're not supposed to be small for other people. You're supposed to be big. So, and you're ask for the big things. And we want to control it, because once we ask, and if we get it, then we're like, well, I'm going to lose it. It's here, but now I'm going to lose it. And it's that trusting that you have asked. And then you've got to just you're going to know whether he's attracting you as much. You're going to feel it in your emotional system. You're going to feel something's off. Maybe I'm putting more effort into it than he is. But the thing is that when you first go into it knowing that that's not something you want. Be very big in your asking. And then just look and wait and see. I mean, when you wait and see, and you actually you put it out there and you're like, okay, this is what I'm wanting. It's coming for me. I feel it. It's coming. And it's near, and you're just really feeling it and knowing you're worthy of it. It does come around, but we so quickly block ourselves so quickly. Like you said, they say, don't write a list. Why? Because we're so afraid of not getting what we want. And that is just that fear, this initial human fear, because we've been disappointed so much in life. But also that disappointment comes from us as well, from our own insecurity. So working on yourself first. And then also, do you want somebody right now in your life with who you are at this moment? People have to know that if they want somebody, if they are having somebody, if they feel an anxious attachment, they know that they have this anxious attachment, that once they get somebody, they are constantly like, okay, are you going to call me? Okay, well, call me tomorrow. Okay, well, what are we doing? They're really attached. If you know that that's how you are, you're going to attract somebody just like that, or somebody who's not going to want to deal with the anxious attachment. So start to deal with yourself first and let go of that anxious attachment, and know that when you bring somebody in, bringing them into who you are at that moment. So knowing if you're happy with who you are at that moment, then it's time to bring someone in. But if you're unhappy, you're going to bring someone in that's just going to be as unhappy as you. It's just going to kind of bring you in this low vibration of what you've been doing. So it's working on yourself, getting yourself to the point of feeling good, and then saying, okay, now I'm ready. Now I'm ready to bring somebody else in. But if we do it beforehand, then we're asking for someone to come in and fix us. And that's not what we want. Of course is what we want, but it's not that's not the way to get something, is by trying to ask, okay, I want a relationship because I'm bored. I want a relationship because I don't have a lot of money and I love somebody else to help with the money situation. I want a relationship because, well, there's a lot of things for, because you're, you want a sexual, whatever, there's, but doing it because I'm ready for a partner. I love who I am now, and I'm ready to share myself. And it's being in that heart space when you ask as well. Those are all very important when you're asking for your mate.
Yeah, very important. Okay, so for my listeners that are attracting love, replay this as many times as you need to, because Angie just gave you the blueprint to make it happen. Okay, and follow it exactly. Don't interfere with the process. Just do what she says. Okay. Now I want to get back to this idea of helping people remember who they're here to be. Where do you start with that, and how do you do that?
So everybody comes in through their astrological sign, right? I'm a Virgo.
I'm an
So
Aries.
I am a teacher. I'm like a teacher, and I want, and I want to do things efficiently. And so it's finding your energy and how your energy works well with others, and what's the best way to connect you in using your particular kind of energy. So some people are really good at project managing, and some people are really good at just connecting. It's finding that energy and going back to where you blocked yourself. Everybody has a desire of who they want to be, and there's something that's blocking them. There's a lot of things that's blocking them. So it's helping them go back and like I said, identifying, okay, well, this is where this stopped me on this one. This is where this stopped me on this one. This is where it's not going to stop me on this one. I remember I have this power. What I do when I coach is it's not just there's a dialogue talking, but I also connect people into their spirit. I do I call it white light vortex activation, and it's channeled. It was given to me by my guides, and it's very powerful. That it brings in source energy, and then through that brings in this vortex of white light that you begin to spin it and raise it, where you can raise your elevation, your vibration, and connect into your spirit, where you start to feel the guidance of your other selves. When you say higher self, it is just your guides, your spirit in this world, in this experience we came down with. We are only a little human. We're mostly spirit. And we are have this curtain, a veil over us, that we believe that we're human totally, and that when we die, we go to heaven or hell and we're done. Next. You know what I mean? And that's not it. The consciousness is one. It's always going. And we come down and we have every access into that one consciousness that we just came from. But we forget. So I activate you back in so that you begin to start to hear and feel the energies around you. You start to hear your intuition and your guides and connect in, and they help guide you in your emotional guidance system, where you bring it all from here down into here. And then they help you also, move to where they're going, because they're right with you. We just forget to ask. We forget to call on them. We forget that we can say, okay, where do I go from here? And take a moment, because they'll talk to you. They're right here. So with both, you have, for me, it's incredibly important that we not only understand that, yes, we have this power to move in this vibrational world, because we are energy and vibration as well. But we all, and to connect into your spirit so that you can start to feel that power. Otherwise, it's stuck in here instead of bringing it in here. And that is where the movement happens. Like you said, we can sit all day and think. This is what I want. This is what I want. This is what I want. But if you're not feeling it, nothing's happening. It's just thought. So it's making it all into alignment.
Yeah. And I think what is important about also bringing things into alignment, and this may not be true for everybody, but it's definitely true for me, is that I have to speak things out loud, right? Yes. That brings things into a different vibration. That's when I start to embody it, because the vibration of my voice allows me to feel it in my body, as where I'm thinking it in my head, it gets stuck, it gets cluttered, and it's not clear. When I start saying things out loud, that's when I see things show up. And like you just did, when I get stuck on a question that seems complex or confusing, I will say it out loud and I will sit there. And if nothing comes to me, I don't hear anything, I don't feel anything, then I will say to myself, I'm not in the right position to receive right now, right? How do I get in the position to receive? Let me go for a walk. Let me be outside. Let the sunlight hit my body. Let me do something different. Oh, I'm really anxious right now. I'm stressed. Let me go exercise a little bit. And then it'll come to me, right? Because I find that, once we ask a question, like the universe wants to answer, our bodies want an answer, and they're going to be searching for that answer, right? But if we're not in position where we can hear it because there's so many distractions or just so many things going on, then we won't hear it. And we might say, oh, I tried that law of attraction thing and that didn't work, right? I said it out loud and it didn't work. Brandy, what do you mean? Right? I did everything you said, Angie, and it's not working because we're not in the position just yet to receive. And so I want to put that out there too, that, things are happening all the time, but this is not like a genie in the bottle situation. It's not going to happen as soon as we snap our fingers, right? Like our spirit guides are here to help us, but they're like, they're not our personal assistant. They don't work for us. They're not going to run around because we say so. It's like it's happening.
But that has to happen. Yeah, it's like I liken it to like, have you ever played virtual reality where you put the goggles on?
Yeah.
So it's like a first-person player situation, and so you want to do something, and you move to your right, and then what you want is right in front of you, and so it comes, and you think, and you can like, okay, well, this is what I want to do, and so that will kind of come into your awareness. It's kind of like, it's like that. So you have to give yourself time. So if you want something and you're not receiving the guidance right away, give yourself a day or two. You're probably not in alignment. You can force the alignment, or you can kind of relax and just let the guidance come in. And a lot of times it will come to you in a commercial. It'll come to you in some random conversation. Two people are passing by, a song, something that comes to you that you're like, that was for me. And something in your system hits and you're like, that was for me. That wasn't not the song I've heard 1,000 times. Those words that I just heard, that I've heard 1,000 times before, that was for me this time. You'll start to see it in front of you, and it's just being aware, and looking for it because it's there.
Yeah, it's there. So once we activate our remembrance, we now are in alignment. We know what we're here to do. What happens next? What is the benefit of this process? What does this now allow us to do?
It allows you to see yourself for who you really are. It allows you to see that you are not here to learn karmic lessons, and that's all you're here to do. Because if you think that, then you're just going to keep, the world is going to keep being in control, and you're just going to keep dealing with situation after situation after situation, putting no intentional thought to it. So this halts all of that and says, okay, I'm done letting everything happen to me. I'm going to start putting my own intention out there. And then you almost like flip the script on your old world, and everything you want, that you can create it, and you don't have to wait for it. You don't have to ask for advice. You don't have to pay someone $6,000 to get, what you want to do, because you think that that's the route. A lot of us think, okay, well, we want to do something. There's only one way to get there. And so we take that one route, when really there is so many avenues to get to a certain place when you start moving your intention and you open your awareness up and you stop putting your limiting beliefs. It is stopping the limiting beliefs is what you do. And you remember that there is limitless energy out there, that nobody is in front of you except who you allow to be in front of you. And that even though you think there's competition out there, there isn't. There is enough energy and enough creational power for everybody to have exactly what they want. It's all about moving into alignment with it. So it's understanding that, okay, I have so many walls up around me. It's no wonder I'm not able to receive. So it's breaking down, okay, I want to receive friendship. Well, then I need to break down my insecurity. I need to be real with who I am. I need to start being honest. I need to start having people, having boundaries. I need to, and so it's realizing what it is that you need, and stop having people tell you, well, this is who you are. I've known you for the last 10 years and you can't change, and it's being stuck. So it's that remembrance of power that we came in to manifest. We came in to create and to create and to create, and then become, be aware. And when you wake up, you start to trigger other people to create, and you wake other people up. And you're waking people up every day by doing this podcast, and so you're doing the same thing. We just do it on different levels. And so it's the point where you are stopping letting life happen to you, and you intentionally start doing life.
I love that. Ooh,
Yeah.
I love that. It's made me perk up, because I think a lot of people want that and they're not sure how to get there. And this is
Yes.
what you do, Angie. So if I were a listener right now and I said, oh my gosh, Angie, that you just explained exactly what I want in my life, how can you help me make it happen? How can people work with you, Angie, to get this awesome thing that you're helping them realize in their life?
Yes. So when you work with me, it's a 2-hour session. It's talking, and there always is counseling going on, because people are having to view themselves in a different way. A perspective change is happening. And then I do energy work, and I connect you into your white light, and we align your chakras. And as you align your chakras, you begin to feel this lightness in your body. As I activate your white light, you begin to feel this elevation that you didn't even know you had in you, like an elevative, your spirit, your human body gets elevated in a spiritual way that has never really happened. And so perspective changes. So each time we work together, your perspective changes. And so, for me, it's my business is Universal Restorative Energy. So you can Google me on there and book an appointment with me. I do virtual appointments. And then I also work in Everett, Washington, where I see clients as well.
Yeah. So I'm going to put Angie's information in the show notes for anyone who is interested. I think it's like, there are going to be some people that say, oh, I don't need a guide to help me. I can do that on my own. And of course you can. You can go out there and do all the work. But I think it's so important that when you're starting out, especially, you have someone who is a little further along the path than you are to help guide you, to welcome you into the process. And this may be a process that you would like to pursue, especially if you're at a place in your life where you don't know what the hell you're doing. This could be helpful, right? This could unlock so many things and aspects in your life for those of you who might be stuck in your career. You are going through difficult relationships in your life. Maybe you're losing friends. You want friends. You're trying to figure out some things about yourself. This might be the thing to do. So, I'm all about exploring and seeking. So I'm going to put that information in the notes. And then if you do it, then maybe we can have you on the show to come and talk about your experience and tell us how it went and what you uncovered about yourself. That would be kind of cool.
That would be awesome.
Yeah. So, Andy, my final question is, it seems like we could go on forever, but my final question in this time period is there anything that I did not ask you that you would like to share with the audience?
You hit on a lot. I'm really here to encourage. One thing that a coach does is we encourage because we know the results. And something that people do when they're by themselves is they get discouraged very fast by the not receiving of what they're asking. They're like, I'm doing this, but I'm not receiving. So, it's having I want people to recognize their power. There's so much power in us as humans, because we're mostly spirit being led in this experience. We have so much power to get what we want. And I just really want people to believe it and start reaching out and looking. It doesn't have to be with me, but just start looking for another avenue that's going to get you out of where you're at now. And I just, am hoping that I can help resonate with people, so they're like, yes, this does make sense, and they will start to seek and explore and play, have fun. I want people to have fun in this world. We have forgotten how to have fun. I will go to go to the playground over here that I walk my dog and throw the ball with my dog, and I'll go and play on the, play on the swings or the, have fun, start having fun again. Like you're a child, dance, enjoy, stop thinking, okay, well, I'm an adult, I can only do these things, and start playing with your life again and enjoy and have gratitude.
Love that. I love that. Well, Angie, thank you so much for being on the podcast. I know that I got a lot out of this conversation, and I know my listeners will as well. If you're listening to this and you enjoyed it, feel free to leave us a review. Tell us what you learned, what you liked. Again, I'll put all of Angie's contact information in the show notes so that you can follow her and find her out there in the internet world, and connect with her as well. But thank you again, Angie, for being on the show.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Yes.